Justice! We want justice! बलात्कारियों को फांसी दो! फांसी दो! फांसी दो! बलात्कारियों को फांसी दो! फांसी दो! फांसी दो! दया याचिका बंद करो! बंद करो! बंद करो! आप लोग यहाँ पे अब क्या मांग रहे हैं?
2 p.m. on Friday.
Crime against women is on the rise. We cannot turn a
Heavy
blind
action
eye to
outside the
what's happening
Saket Court
crime.
in New Delhi.
There cannot be any tolerance to this.
The nation was glued to its television sets. It was undoubtedly a big day. A big day not just because the men who savagely brutalized a young girl were about to get their sentence. It was big because India was hoping and praying for justice. India wanted a precedent, an example to be set.
बलात्कारियों को फांसी दो! फांसी दो! फांसी दो! बलात्कारियों को फांसी दो! फांसी दो! फांसी दो!
So that no man after this day can violate a woman and get away with it. And finally the words echoed. Nirbhaya's rapists got death.
And all accused, all four accused, Akshay, Vinay, Pawan and Mukesh, sentenced to till death, hanged till death. फांसी की सजा उनको दी गई है पूरी तरह से.
The Delhi police actually conducted a very scientific investigation, and the prosecution was actually represented, and the prosecutors, the special prosecutor, argued the case with a great amount of dexterity and dedication, and that's why the court was able to go fast in spite of many roadblocks, and was ultimately able to do complete justice.
The monsters who murdered an innocent young woman will now face the same fate. It was a moment of vindication, not just for Nirbhaya, a girl who had life forcefully snuffed out of her.
Our good work has been proven right, and we have been vindicated in the most glowing terms. It will send a very loud and clear signal to people who dare to outrage the modesty of a woman. And I think the change in the laws and such strict punishments will contribute to curbing offences against women.
I think the verdict that's come out is like very right. I mean, the whole nation was with the Nirbhaya's family, and it's like the victory of not just Nirbhaya's family, it's a victory of the whole nation.
I'm very happy with the judgment. In fact, I'm very contented also. What happened was actually not good, and the decision, it is rightly said that justice delayed is justice denied.
Not just for the family who went through the painful ordeal of seeing their child succumb.
इस फैसले से मैं बेहद खुश हूँ, क्योंकि ये हमारी जीत नहीं बल्कि पूरे जनता की जीत है, सबकी जीत है. शासन, प्रशासन, मीडिया और पुलिस सबका ही जीत है. हमारा कोई पर्सनल जीत नहीं है, और हम ऐसा ही अपने विचार में रखेंगे कि ऐसी जीत सबको मिले.
हमारे उस टाइम तो देखिए फैसला आया तो हमें थोड़ी राहत मिली, और बेटी ने कहा था कि इनको जल्दी जिंदे जला देना चाहिए. तो सबसे पहले तो मैंने अपनी बेटी को कहा कि बेटी आज तुम्हारे मुजरिमों को सज़ा मिल गई और तुम्हारी इच्छा पूरी हो गई और इनको फांसी की सज़ा हो गई.
This was vindication for all those women of India who had their lives crushed by men who had no fear of the law.
It's a landmark movement in its scope, in its scale, and above all in the fact that it raised a voice against rape culture. That in the movement, along with demanding justice for Nirbhaya, women were also coming out, young people were coming out, men and boys and girls both, to say don't teach women how to dress, teach men not to rape. That I think was the most important thing.
Sensitivity of this case was really intense. In that sense, this case has become a kind of benchmark for us. It has become a kind of milestone for us. Therefore, we intend to draw all the lessons, all the experiences, all the new experiments that we did in this case, and we want to use those experiments, those lessons in all other cases that are now pending with us.
Justice had been delivered 9 months on.
A nation awakened with the Nirbhaya case. Shock led to outrage. Prayers led to protests. Within the next half an hour, we investigate the events of that heinous crime on December 16th, the rape laws in the country, as well as, most importantly, the juvenile justice laws in India.
Exactly 9 months back, a young medical student was returning home in Delhi. Going by what this society wants of a woman, she had done no wrong. It was not that late in the night. She had a male companion, and she was simply wanting to get back. But even when she followed these so-called rules, it did not stop the brutes on the streets from assaulting, raping, and finally killing her.
It was in a bus like this, the gruesome gang rape was carried out by the 6 men. The Delhi police in its charge sheet has gone on to say that the juvenile involved in the crime was the most brutal amongst the 6 men. And there was national outrage when the very same juvenile got away with a 3-year sentence only because he was a few days short of turning 18.
The demand of 1 billion voices had finally been pushed through. The reality after Nirbhaya is far from ideal.
The Juvenile Justice Act in India terms only those above 18 as adults. Due to this, the juvenile gets away with a sentence of only 3 years. He was 170 days short of being 18. The Juvenile Justice Laws Acts in India also say he will not be sent to jail, but, shockingly, a correctional home.
In fact, as the 4 accused got death, less than 10 days back, the most savage, the most barbaric of Nirbhaya's tormentors got away with 3 years. The apparent loopholes in our system ensured that he walked away.
I've read and heard a lot of debates and discussion on it. No one can do anything about it and Parliament doesn't revisit the legislation. The Supreme Court has dealt with the 2000 Act, the Juvenile Justice Act. The Supreme Court has dealt with the issue that it makes a conscious departure from the 1986 Act. It's dealt with the UN conventions. The object was to bring it in line with the UN convention, the Riyadh rules, the Beijing rules, etc. Now, if the Act provides for something, you can't expect the court to go beyond the Act.
In that case, where is the justice?
As a woman, I feel that 3-year sentence does not do justice. When he's performed such a grave act of molesting a woman, he should be tried as an adult.
I believe the law should be actually changed and made very stringent for the juvenile, and we should not get away with it.
Nirbhaya stated herself that that person, the juvenile, was more harsh, he was more brutal in doing that. So just because he was a few days old doesn't mean that he did not do it, or in any way he can be corrected by attending 3 months of a correction center or something.
If this man was old enough to brutalize a girl in the way he did, shouldn't he face the law for his heinous act?
I think there is a case for Parliament to revisit this legislation because there are countries, for instance, from the US, Canada, Australia, France, where they've made and categorized and segregated various age groups. So there is an age group of, say, 8 to 10, 10 to 13, 13 to 17, depending on the jurisdictions. And in some of those jurisdictions, they have come to the conclusion that if your maturity levels, if your perceptions of what is right, what is wrong, are such that they are no different from that of an adult, a criminal sentence could take place. the range of a criminal sanction may vary. That could still happen, that it could be harsher than 3 years, but less harsh than, say, what is given to an adult. But definitely it could be harsher than 3 years as is provided under the Indian law.
The questions around the Juvenile Justice Act are many, and the opinions even more diverse. But why should all these juvenile offenders be clubbed together and put under a blanket law?
It is very wrong. Minors also should be hanged. If they are committing a mistake, they should be punished. They should be punished to death.
A minor should be punished when he is committing a crime. That means he must be having at least this. Everybody has a know-how that something is wrong and something is not. And raping a girl, probably a juvenile. Plus, according to me, the age of juvenile should be reformed. Instead of keeping it just to 18, it should be reformed to 14.
The calls for justice in case of Nirbhaya were loud, more vehement. But she was not the only one. 2 months before Nirbhaya was gang-raped and murdered, a young life was brutalized in another part of the country. The survivor, a student of a premier law college in Bangalore.
It's here on the fringes of Bangalore University that on the 13th of October last year, a young girl and a friend of hers were accosted by a group of young men. The boy was thrashed, the girl abducted and then gang-raped deep into this forest. Now this entire area has been cordoned off. But is that really the solution, or is stricter punishment the answer?
On October 13 last year, the predators, as they always do, came out of nowhere. Dragged her and a male friend out of a car parked on the college campus to an adjoining forest area and raped her. Of the 8 perpetrators, 6 have been given a life term. But one is a minor, and his trial is still underway.
We all know about the Nirbhaya case. The maximum sentencing that a juvenile can get is 3 years, and that's the maximum punishment that has been given in the Nirbhaya case to one of the juvenile accused. Now the question is, and it has arisen a larger debate on the age of the juvenile. Should it be according to the biological age, or should it be according to his or her mental age and the gravity of that crime? Let me put that question to you first.
It has to be according to the mental age. If a person has gone ahead and committed a specific crime, he knows the gravity of what he's done. He knows the repercussions that it would have on probably the victim, the victim's family and all of that. And this has to be kept in mind. Crime, besides being reformatory, is also retributive in nature. And in order to stress on this retributive nature of criminality and criminal action, one has to go ahead and fix a similar sentence as is put on a person who is of age and is an adult.
At some point of time, you'll have to set a standard and say, okay, this is going to be the age above which we're going to try you in a regular trial court.
You assume that people under a certain age probably weren't able to understand the nature of their crimes, as a result of which you don't hold them fully liable for those crimes, as a full adult would be.
Once again, he could not be brought to book simply because he was a juvenile.
A violation of the law itself.
I think there definitely needs to be a provision for arrest of rare cases. Be it crimes as heinous as rape or murder for that matter are heinous by the very nature, by the gravity of the crime that they have committed. I do believe that they need to be treated at par with other criminals. Even if they're a few months younger, I don't believe that it hampers their capability to understand the act.
If it is rape or murder, does not mean that that juvenile has the full understanding of what he has committed. Rarest of the rare cases cannot be judged before, there can't be a presumption before the trial is even taken place. In any case, even when an adult has committed the crime.
His crime was as heinous. His intent was as sick. But he was underage, but old enough to rape a woman. The year was 2007. A man had raped and murdered a 6-year-old child. So brutal, so savage was his crime that the courts had granted him a life term. But just as the family of the victim had some semblance of a closure, came the shock. The family of the accused went to a higher court, which ordered a bone ossification test to determine his age. The medical report said he was less than 18 when the crime happened. The perpetrator was let off.
Senior officers say that this case is a very curious one. The accused was given life imprisonment for rape and murder, but later the High Court realized that the accused is a minor and converted his life imprisonment to 3-year stay in a correctional home. Now out in open and living in this colony, the family of the victim claims that he is threatening them again.
क्या बोले ऐसे नजायज ही परेशान कर रहे उसको दिमाग उसका ठीक नहीं है झूठ बोल रहे हैं कि धमकी दे रहे हैं
उसके घर वाले जो दे रहे हैं वो जो बोल
रहे हैं झूठ बोल रहे हैं लड़का निकलता ही नहीं।
पर आप ये भी कह रही थी कि विनोद की मतलब मानसिक
हालत ठीक नहीं, आप कागज देख सकते हो, हम प्राइवेट दवाई करा रहे हैं उसकी, मानसिक हालत बिल्कुल ठीक नहीं।
तो जनवरी में उसने पुरुषोत्तम की लड़की को धमकाया था?
नहीं धमकी दी बिल्कुल नहीं।
But the 5 years in jail had brought no change in him. The family says on his return, he threatened them of a similar crime. So then how exactly was justice done? What is the guarantee that 3 years in a reformatory home, the accused would not commit a similar crime on their release?
It requires a close monitoring by the law enforcement agency as well. See, we have to take a list of such suspects and keep a close track and provide security. Of course, it's so difficult to control all this. Suppose if it happens within the 4 walls of a house, so difficult. But still, I think the law enforcement machinery can actually become more visible in the eyes of the public to boost the confidence.
Because even if one goes by simple statistics, the rates of such incidents are glaring. But as the debate over the juvenile justice rages on, there is another question we Indians need to ask ourselves. When Nirbhaya succumbed in a Singapore hospital, the nation came out on the streets. So intense were the protests that it forced speedy trial and prompted our government to change the laws. But has anything really changed on the ground?
Anything that is done harshly will go in a very harsh way a message to the people, particularly women folk. They will be more relieved of these things. Some stringent law is there and they are taken care of by the government, by the parliament and whoever it may be. They need not wait for revised decisions by the Verma committee or anything. All the cases pending, they should be reviewed immediately and they should be eliminated from the society. So that will give still a strong message to the society that will not only they reviewed the past cases, future also they are being taken care of.
This is a unique, gravest of grave crimes. There have been other rapes, there have been other murders. Maybe they have not been so gruesome. So I think each case will have to be taken up specially on its own merit or demerit as the case may be. And I think the verdict will have to be given in each case separately.
Because only recently, another Nirbhaya ordeal unfolded in the Maximum City. One woman cornered by a bunch of brutes and victimized. If the laws were really that tough, if the deterrent was really that strong, then this should not have happened.
What is important is that how crimes like this are responded to in an effective sort of way. You know, that there is a certainty of punishment, and it is done in a way where, you create confidence in reporting these cases, you create the kind of robust system that investigates it well, and that in terms of the way it's responded to, in terms of the conviction levels, in terms of prosecution, that we have a professional system working well towards addressing the issue at hand, which is violence against women, whether it's in the home, whether it's on the street, or whether it's in the office space. And that is what is important here.
So now, as we rejoice the death sentence to the savages whose brutality claimed an innocent life, we must look back and ask ourselves, has the reality changed after Nirbhaya? Do I really feel safe on the streets today? What is the guarantee that tomorrow I will not face the same fate? What is the assurance that predators will not get away with dreadful crimes simply because they are underage? Are my protests really bringing about change? Because the answers to these questions will force us to open up our eyes to the reality that is India.